Hello, my name is Ollie, and today I will be writing a program that generates a specified amount of random characters that the user will input and store them in an array. And I will be using separate functions to keep our main function as minimal as possible, um, and just makes it easier to organize or explain or uh, edit in the future. These are my tabs that I have open. And I'll be working out of VS Code. And this is C107. Okay, so I'm going to start with my inclusions. We of course want to include IOStream so that we can use input and output objects. I want to use this library so that I can use the random function. And I'll use seedtime so that I can use the time function as a changing seed value. And all using namespace std, since we will be accessing that library as well. We don't want to have to continue typing it over and over again. Okay, so these are my functions that I will first provide the prototype for so that the compiler knows that they exist before I use them in the main. So okay, so we want to generate characters, and this will take characters as the prototype, and it'll be stored in the letters array. And also will take quantity, which is an integer. Next, do display character, and the parameters for this one will be the same. Okay, now that we have our function prototypes there, let's go ahead and start our main method. And we're going to call those methods inside of here. But I'm first going to seed the random generator number first. So with 0 as the index, it's going to make the program produce different random values for each run. And without this, it would just generate the same sequence every time. So we want to do time with the index 0. Okay, so next I'm going to call my functions and store the return number in quantity. So integer type quantity is the name of it, and alright, this is going to tell the program how many characters that the user wants to generate, and that's what they'll enter themselves. Next, I'm going to declare an array the size of 10, since we're generating, or sorry, since the user, their number will be between 1 and 10. So, where is it? Okay, letters. And the size to be 10. And this function is going to serve the purpose of filling the array with our randomly generated characters. So, again, put our parameters. So it'll only pass the amount that the user asked for, even though the capacity is 10. And lastly, we want to display the characters. Alright. And that is where we want our program to end. As far as the main method, of course. So now we want to define our functions. So we'll start with the first one that we mentioned. So user input. Don't know why it didn't pop up. Okay, so for user input, we want to first declare the variable that will store the user's desired number of characters, and then we can prompt them to enter that. And whatever the user input, we want to store it in the variable that we declared. Okay. So now that that's stored there, we want to start a loop to validate the input. So if the number is outside of the range, which is 1 and 10, we'll give them a chance to fix that. So we'll reprompt them. So while the number is less than 1, or the number is more than 10. Alright. And then, of course, that will go inside the number variable. And number okay, so once the number is valid, we want to return it back to the main function that we called earlier. So let's specify that. Return number. Okay, we can now move on to our next function, line 19. Okay, so for this one, we are doing generate character. And we don't want it to, geez Louise, specifically return anything back to the main, so that's why it's a void. So I'm going to set up a loop for each character that the user requested. So, and of course we start at 0. We want to go the length of their specified range. So we know that's stored in quantity. We want it to loop and increment. We're 23. Okay, so for that specified number, we want to first decide whether it's going to be a lowercase or uppercase character. So So this is going to give us either a 0 or 1, and this is again to be able to decide what the character will be, lowercase or uppercase. So we want to create a random number from 0 to 25. So 26, the length of the alphabet. We'll use this variable to hold. Once it completes a letter, it'll be stored there. So now we want to set up our choices. So if it is a 0, then we're going to do an uppercase letter. And the uppercase letters in the ASCII begin at 65. Otherwise, we want it to be a lowercase. Which begin at 97. Okay, so then after generating the character, we want to store it inside the array, which we set up as letters. So it'll loop for the specified amount and then store them. So we're going to use the index as I so that each new character goes into the next position. So this is just kind of a placeholder. Letters. Okay. And so we did generate character. Now we want to display the character. So it'll receive the array and basically just display it on our console. So again, it's taking what's in the array, letters, and the quantity. So it will only print the specified quantity and not the rest of the 10 spaces. Okay. So we'll first put a little label so we know what we're getting. And we're going to set up a for loop so that each character is printed from the array. So we want to go the length of the user's quantity. Of course, we start at 0. And a space in between to make it more readable. And letters I. Okay, let's go through this. First one is line 11. Oh, there we go. Line 35. There we go. Those should be semicolons. Line 39. And 65. Or sorry, 51. Let's get rid of these empties. I was expecting semicolon there. My brackets are wrong somewhere. See out generated characters. Where did all this come from? Okay, so our main function opens up here. And it's a nightmare. I have to just restart. Okay, so we want this to close after characters. See how generated characters for here. And close it here. Does that fix it? Yay! Okay. Let's save it and see what we're working with. Actually, start over here. All right. Nope. Don't want to end that line. 19. Okay, perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And just for visual purposes, I do want to add a line. So save that and give her a whirl. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, we took the scenic route, but we made it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Have a good night.